They're among the world's most controversial drugs. Not coke, heroin, or crystal meth, but anabolic steroids.
Steroids are incredibly effective.
However, it comes at a price.
This is Russian roulette that they're playing with themselves.
Millions have used anabolic steroids, including those you'd least suspect. No drug is so reviled, yet so misunderstood.
The fact of the matter is, you want our athletes using steroids.
From researchers, users, and abusers come stories from inside the world of steroids, and a view of how steroids work from inside the body. What do we know about the real risks?
You cannot prove cause and effect. You just can't do it.
And can science separate fact from fiction in the steroids debate? In 2005, some of baseball's greatest players addressed Congress on steroid use in professional sports.
Members of the committee, distinguished guests, my name is Jose Canseco, and for 17 years I played professional baseball.
In his book and during testimony, Canseco spoke of rampant steroid use in baseball. Since then, more heroes have fallen. In 2007, Major League Baseball took a major blow. In a massive investigation, the Mitchell report implicated over 80 players from all 30 clubs for using performance-enhancing substances. Those named included home run record holder Barry Bonds and star pitcher Roger Clemens. Both have denied the accusations. But for pro athletes in all sports, millions of dollars and world records can ride on gaining the slightest edge. And that's when many turn to steroids. Anabolic steroids are now banned in every major sporting organization. In the U.S., anabolic steroids are also illegal without a prescription. Yet more than 1 million Americans have admitted using them illegally. The real number of users is anyone's guess.
Other than pedophilia, this is the most secretive behavior I've ever encountered. I've had people admit they've hit their spouse, that they've used cocaine, heroin, amphetamines. They'll admit all that before they will anabolic steroids.
In pro sports, adamant denials are par for the course.
Are you taking the fifth? I'm not here to discuss the past.
I have never used steroids, period.
There's probably not an athlete alive at any level that hasn't considered using steroids, at least at some point in their career.
Are steroids dangerous? Many doctors say yes. How dangerous? Doctors disagree.
I'm far more concerned about tobacco and alcohol, methamphetamines, crystal meth, cocaine and heroin by a long shot than I am anabolic steroids. However, that does not give us license to ignore it or not aggressively deal with the problem.
There tend to be highly opinionated people on both sides of the aisle, both groups of whom have opinions that are substantially beyond anything that the actual data can support.
Science isn't the only voice in the debate. Others have something to say. The champion who turned his back on steroids, the father who lost a child to steroids, and even the athletes who defend steroids. Few understand steroids better than Kieran Kidder. Kieran is a competitive powerlifter. He used supplements for more than 15 years. At times, that included steroids.
Good morning. Mwah.
I'm getting ready to go to the gym here in a little bit.
What are you training today?
Back and legs, gonna
Kidder is also the founder of the World Powerlifting Organization.
Today it starts. I personally like to train about mid-morning. So I come out and I'll, try to have a little bit to eat, like an hour or two before I'm gonna train.
He believes steroids are a widely misunderstood drug.
Preconceived notions are that it's similar to doing narcotics and you're, wrapping a rubber band around your arm like a junkie does. But it's no different than taking, a multivitamin on a daily basis. It's just part of a routine.
Like this shot of vitamin B12, injectable steroids are taken the exact same way. And Kidder's earlier use of steroids gives them an insider's perspective on how to use them.
I always start out with injectables for a few weeks and then add different orals in over about a 16-week period.
Known as stacking, many believe that mixing several different steroids may produce better results.
It's good to have a few different compounds in you than an abundance of one. So that just keeps your receptors always clicking and popping and pulling the stuff into your body and utilizing it to the best that it can.
Many experts believe that steroids can push the physiologic limits of the muscle, making it bigger, faster, and stronger than it could get naturally.
These drugs will take you places that you can lift for 50 years and you'll never get to naturally. They're that potent.
Steroids affect the body by enhancing the natural process of muscle building. The key to building muscle is protein synthesis and cellular repair. Skeletal muscle is made up of long fibrous chains containing proteins. Bundles of thousands of fibers make up the muscle itself. When an athlete engages in a heavy workout, this structure is damaged, causing micro tears in the muscle fibers. The body naturally repairs this damage by mending the torn fibers. The result is a muscle that's larger and stronger than before. And with each additional workout, the athlete adds bulk, strength, and speed. With steroids, muscle repair can come faster, much faster.
A normal person, when they work out, they're going to break down their muscle, and it takes about 48 hours in between workouts for your muscles to repair themselves. Well, anabolic steroids speed up that process. So rather than taking 48 hours, it may be only 24 hours. So you're able to work out more frequently, longer, more intensely, and then recover faster so you can work out again.
Not only that, they may raise the performance ceiling of the muscle. Scientists realized the potential of anabolic steroids soon after they appeared. In 1939, German scientist Adolf Butenandt won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry for his pioneering work on testosterone. Hitler refused to let him accept the prize. But from World War to the Cold War, Germany pioneered steroids research. At the 1976 Olympics in Montreal, East German athletes won 40 gold medals, including 11 in women's swimming.
During the 70s, the East Germans had a phenomenal record in the pool. And it wasn't until about 20 years later when it finally emerged that they had a drug program in place and they were just taking all the medals, literally.
By the end of the 1970s, steroids had infected sports in other countries. But steroids was not yet a household word. Then, in rushed Ben Johnson.
And they're off. Ben Johnson, Carl Lewis is... And Ben Johnson really has it. Look at McRae is in second. And it's Ben Johnson, and he's going to walk. Ben Johnson first.
In 1988, the Canadian sprinter won the gold in the 100-meter dash in the Seoul Olympic Games, shattering the world record. A urine test revealed his secret.
Ben Johnson did two things. One is he got his medal taken away for doping with anabolic steroids. Two is he ran the fastest 100 meters that had ever been recorded in world history. So he showed really the world that these were effective drugs. Because when Ben Johnson came back without steroids 2 years later, the headlines were, Ben Johnson is back and he's slower.
Johnson had a third achievement. He helped the public equate steroids with cheating.
Sort of like using a bicycle if you were running a race. It was against the spirit of sport.
Although steroid use was deemed cheating by the rules of sport, they were not yet classified as illegal. After the Johnson scandal, the U.S. Congress held hearings on outlawing the non-medical use of anabolic steroids. Those opposed included the American Medical Association, the Food and Drug Administration, even the Drug Enforcement Administration. All testified that steroids were addictive and didn't meet the criteria for becoming a controlled substance. Despite this, in 1990, Congress voted to make steroids illegal without a prescription. The first shot in a war against cheating in sports had been fired. But many athletes could get around that. They could find steroids through trainers, fellow athletes, and even doctors willing to write prescriptions. And in the 90s, Kieran Kidder didn't need a prescription. He also knew where to find black market steroids. But the law was close behind.
Back in 1996, I got arrested for possession of them. Somebody ratted me out, spent 4 months in jail. My whole life has never been the same since.
Yet he still believes they have their place in sports.
I've taken them, and I've taken lots of them. I just don't recommend that just anybody takes it. If you know what you're doing, there is a safe way of doing it. There absolutely is.
Most who take steroids think there's minimum risk or low risk or risk they can handle. But that's the problem. This very powerful hormone that's going to your brain, it's going to your muscles, it's going to your liver, it's going everywhere, and it's changing you.
The challenge for science is proving it. But not all steroids are created equal. For every athlete who secretly injects steroids, there's someone like this man who legally uses a different type of steroid right out in the open. There are several classes of steroids. Most often confused are anabolic steroids and corticosteroids. Both are synthetic versions of hormones produced naturally in the body, but they perform two completely different tasks. Athletes use anabolic steroids to build muscle. Corticosteroids are used by doctors to reduce inflammation. Everything from arthritis medication to asthma inhalers contain corticosteroids. Unlike anabolic steroids, they cannot build muscle. But anabolic steroids have their place in legitimate medicine as well.
There are a few things that anabolic steroids are used for, and I use them in my practice as well. I use them for men, usually older men, who lose the ability to make their own testosterone.
Other doctors prescribe steroids to treat muscle loss, anemia, stunted growth, and delayed puberty. Anabolic steroids are simply synthetic versions of testosterone, the primary male hormone. In short, they're man-made versions of natural testosterone produced in a lab instead of the body.
So if we're going to give somebody testosterone, all we're doing is giving them back what their body would normally be making. It's not giving them any more than that.
But if you do take more than the physiologic dose, the results can be dramatic. And chemistry may be the key to pushing the muscle beyond its natural performance envelope. For unknown reasons, when an athlete trains intensely, natural testosterone levels in the body drop precipitously, sometimes to that of a castrated man. The body also releases another hormone called glucocorticoids to reduce inflammation. But glucocorticoids have a second effect. They are catabolic, meaning they break down muscle tissue. It's a double whammy against the muscle, a drop in testosterone and an increase in muscle-wasting hormone. It's speculated that steroids affect the hormone imbalance in two ways. First, they may replenish testosterone levels after a workout, accelerating muscle repair. They may also block the muscle-wasting effects of glucocorticoids. The result is a muscle that quickly gets bigger and stronger.